Moving to Mobile, Alabama can be a very confusing and daunting process. There are a lot of details about the city and all the surrounding towns that can kind of get lost in the weeds. If you aren't careful, you might end up moving to Mobile only to realize that you moved to the wrong part of Mobile. Different communities have different amenities and conveniences, so today on Moving to Mobile, we're going to make sure you have all the information you need so you can pick the right spot. I'm David Beasley, your local realtor. My team help people just like you buy, sell, resell, and invest in the Mobile area every single day. So if you need help with any of these things, please give me a call, a text, or an email anytime. So today, things are going to look a little different than normal. We're going to pop up on the map and look at 4 main categories to break down the city, which are commuting, things to do, neighborhoods, and budget. So today I wanted to start by talking about the 2 major highways that run into Mobile, which will kind of help you get an idea of the commute and everything going on, kind of whether you're driving out of Mobile, into Mobile, or if you even live inside of Mobile, this will help you kind of understand commuting around. So we're going to start with I-65, which is a road you've probably heard of before. Runs down all the way through here, and then we land in Mobile. This is actually, Mobile is the end of I-65. If you visit anywhere from up north or northeast, it's likely that you're going to use this interstate to get to Mobile, and it makes travel up north a lot faster for Mobilians because we're right there on the interstate. This road also makes Mobile very popular for drive-through traffic to places like New Orleans, and even the eastward beaches. If you're coming up north, you drive through Mobile and go eastward. And this highway right here actually leads up into Montgomery. Eventually it hits Birmingham, and then after about 7 hours, you'll reach Nashville, and then finally 15 hours later, you'll be all the way up in Chicago, which is the other end of this highway. This is also the route you would take if you go up to Atlanta, but it won't take you all the way to Atlanta. It'll take you to Montgomery, and then in Montgomery, you'll split off and go on I-85, which will take you all the way to Atlanta. The other major interstate I wanted to touch on today is I-10. It starts right here. You'll see it. This is actually Mississippi right here. And we're going to travel all the way into Alabama, all the way up into Mobile. And then when we get into Mobile, we'll cross into Daphne and Spanish Fort. And then this actually takes us all the way out into Florida. So you can see I-10 kind of swoops up to include Mobile and then swoops back down when you reach Florida. So out west here, if you keep going, you're going to hit Biloxi, Gulfport, Louisiana, New Orleans. And eventually, if you keep going west, you'd actually reach all the way into Los Angeles. However, there are a lot of other places you'd have to pass first before you get to Los Angeles. Now, if we look over here eastward, we're going to hit a lot of the Florida attractions, such as Pensacola, Tallahassee, and we'd finally end up in Jacksonville. And those are actually the 2 ends of this interstate, Jacksonville and Los Angeles. These 2 highways kind of make an upside-down T, where Mobile is the intersection of them. This gives a lot of through travel coming in and out of Mobile. Now, there are 3 smaller highways that I wanted to talk about today. Highway 45 right here, this is called Moffett Road for a lot of this stretch, and eventually as we get closer into Midtown, it's going to turn into what's called Spring Hill Avenue. If you head out west on this road, northwest, you're going to hit Sims up here, and then eventually Wilmer. Wilmer is a lot more rural. You're going to get a lot more of that small town vibe. Sims is kind of becoming more and more connected to Mobile as years go along, and it's even though it's a little further out, the commute really isn't too bad in that spot. All right, Highway 45 right here is going to lead you up to Chinchula, Citronelle, and eventually it's going to take you up to Washington County and eventually push you out even into Mississippi. This is a very rural stretch. The further north you go, a lot of times you're going to be hitting a lot of small towns. This highway right here is called Highway 43. It's going to take you up true north. It intersects with Interstate 65, and eventually it hits a place called Jackson, Alabama, which is a pretty small town outside of Mobile. These 3 highways right here, as you leave Mobile, are going to be mainly rural and kind of tame drives. You're going to see a lot of pine trees, southern beauty, little creeks, streams, that sort of stuff. I addressed some of this on a video I did on Chinchula a couple weeks ago, but Mobile has a lot of really beautiful areas out in the rural country, and these spots are all great for that. I think that gives you a really good idea of what the major roads are in the city, but I want to address how these connect to the commute times that you deal with in Mobile. When it comes to commuting in Mobile, there are a couple things that I want you to know. The first thing I want you to know is that the commute time in Mobile on average is 20 to 25 minutes. There are places where it's better, there are places where it's worse. It just depends on what spot of town you're in. Now, this map can actually really help us understand commute times, because what we see is that if you're on or near any of these major roads, it's going to help you get to the hot spots in Mobile quicker. For example, if you live out in Wilmer, you probably are going to find that it's a lot faster to travel downtown than if you lived out like in Tanner Williams. That's because you're going to be traveling along Highway 98, which is just a straight shot. This isn't to say it's going to be super quick, but this shot could take you as low as 20 minutes, which is pretty impressive for how far you're going to go. Now, I do want to note that there's a ton of congestion on the Bayway right here. So this is going to be crossing out of Mobile County and into Baldwin County. The Bayway can get really, really congested, and you really have to hit it at the right time, or else you're gonna be sitting on that bridge for a long time. As you can probably see, downtown, which is what I circled right here, is the connection between all these roads. So it's really convenient if you're looking to go downtown anywhere else, because you can kind of hit any of these spots quickly. If you're trying to live in Mobile without a car, your best bet is gonna be living downtown, because it's got the best walkability. Now, if you're someone who does a lot of travel, you might be considering where the airport is, because you want to be close to that. Currently, that's out here in West Mobile, but it's actually going to be moving to downtown, so you might consider that. Don't move out to West Mobile if you want to be near that airport. I also want to pull up this map, which is the bus routes. You can see there's routes that go out to South Alabama, there's routes that go all over Mobile, but they all connect in downtown, which is going to make it a lot more possible to live in Mobile if you can't drive a car. Okay, so next let's talk neighborhoods and the things that those neighborhoods have to do. Now, I want to actually start outside of Mobile in Baldwin County, because it has its own culture and vibe. And I wanted to include it today because so many of you have actually been asking me about Baldwin County. I do service this area. I help people move here all the time. I've got videos on it. And a lot of these small towns individually I've actually done videos on, such as Daphne and Fairhope. We've got Foley. We've got Orange Beach, Gulf Shores. This side of the bay is very coastal. It's very small town oriented, lots of retirees in the area. And what you'll find is that it's been growing a lot. It's very touristy. So you've got places like Gulf Shores and Orange Beach, which draw people in from all over the country. There are also a lot of really good places to eat in this area. I've gone over some of that in the Daphne and Fairhope videos. And there's a lot of attractions in places like Foley. I would call this area quaint, but not really rural. Each of these areas has a ton of people in them and have a lot of energy. None of them I would consider small. I would consider most of them just kind of separate. As you can see, kind of where we're at geographically, this is Florida right here. I actually clipped in some of Florida. So Baldwin County reaches all the way to Florida. Mobile County reaches all the way over to Mississippi. The last thing I'll note about Baldwin County is generally it's more expensive than Mobile County on average. Okay, so the next section we're going to talk about is North Mobile, which is right here. North Mobile includes Saraland, Chickasaw, Satsuma, those sort of areas. And what you'll find is that Saraland's school system is very sought after, very desired. And there's a good amount to do in that area, in this area in general. There's some flood zoning issues in some of these spots. You'll find that in a lot of areas in Mobile other than West Mobile, but this is a really good spot to live. Saraland, Chickasaw, and Satsuma still feel really connected to Mobile because you have Highway 43, which is running right into the heart of Mobile. Now, the northern parts of Mobile County are really beautiful too. Places like Citronelle have beautiful campgrounds, and they have really classic southern beauty. The next section we're going to jump into is West Mobile, which is not really as rural as you might think. On the map here, you can see it looks really green, but this area is developing really, really fast. There are lots of new developments in this area, from houses to neighborhoods to businesses. And this area is really growing strong in Mobile and becoming almost its own township and idea, separate from downtown and midtown. In this area, you'll find things like Target, you'll have AMC, there's a bowling alley, there's lots to do. Lots of businesses have been establishing in this area and moving out of downtown because it's a lot cheaper. Schillinger Road and Airport Boulevard are the two main roads in West Mobile. They can get super congested, especially during rush hour, so I would recommend staying away from those spots at those times. Now, if you look here out further west, Tanner Williams, that sort of area, it does get a lot more rural, and you can find a lot of land in this spot. Okay, our fourth area is downtown and midtown. We grouped these together. This is obviously the most popular area of town. There's lots of nightlife and lots of events, lots of things to do. This is kind of where our community gathers. There are a lot of unique restaurants and dining experiences. One of my favorites is Squid Ink. If you ever get the chance to try it, I would highly recommend it. Neighborhood-wise, I'm keeping this area very vague for your sake, because I think you should check out spot to spot whether or not it's somewhere you'd want to live. I would highly recommend you check out things like crime reports, crime statistics, all that sort of stuff, so you know what area you would consider safe. The really cool thing about downtown is there's a lot of parks, a lot of walkability, a lot of places to go. It's connected to all of the major travel outside of Mobile, like the bus system, the train system, the Amtrak that's coming to Mobile, and eventually the airport. Midtown connects to downtown, and it's got some more affordable options for you that you might really like. It's a way to be closer to the action while not also feeling like you have to be in the heart of the city. The last area we're going to talk about is called South Mobile. It's right here. And you can see it's touching the Gulf of America. It's got places like Theodore, Bilo Battery, Coden, that sort of stuff. The benefit of this area is that it's really close to the water, which is really neat for some people. You've got quick access to places like Dauphin Island, which is really neat, and Mobile Bay as a whole. A lot of people have their own boat launches and harbors in this area, and it can be really cool to see that kind of come to life in the city. This area can be categorized by swimming, fishing, surfing, that sort of thing on Mobile's side of the bay. Now, before you go and you buy something down here, I want to warn you that anything below I-10 might have a hefty insurance tag on it. I see a lot of buyers get really excited because some of these houses are cheaper, but what they're not realizing is that they're going to be paying 2 or 3 times as much in insurance every month. Okay, so last we're going to talk budget, and we're going to stick on Mobile's side of the bay just so you can get a good idea. If you want more ideas of the budget on the eastward side of the bay, I can do a video on that later, but that's kind of its own beast. I wanted to stick to Mobile. So currently on our market, we have 334 houses that are under 200,000. And what you'll find is that a lot of them are falling downtown and midtown area. You'll see a lot of energy in this spot. You'll find some kind of near Airport Boulevard and a little bit in West Mobile, but not the more desired neighborhoods in West Mobile. You'll find quite a bit in Theodore and below I-10. Next, we're going to look at options from 300 to 400. You can actually see that there's some options in Dauphin Island for 300 to 400,000. So if you're looking to live on the island or maybe invest, there might be some good spots there. You'll see West Mobile has really kind of become unlocked in this range, and you're seeing a lot less in downtown and in midtown. This is a really desirable area right now, and I think that this is kind of showing that. You're not seeing a lot of houses yet on the water. You're seeing a couple here, $359, $399 on the higher end of that. But a lot of West Mobile kind of opens up in the $300,000 to $400,000 range. This is the $400,000 to $600,000 range. This is getting more and more high end. This really starts to thin out. We have 172 homes on the market right now. Inventory, as you get higher end, obviously is going to get lower. You can see now we're getting into some of the luxury homes that are offered downtown. There's some larger land, more options, a lot of house, 5 bedrooms, 6, 7, 8 bedroom even. You're getting into some of that. You're still seeing a good showing in West Mobile. And you're seeing not very much in Saraland. You're not seeing very much out in these rural counties as much as you were in the lower end. This is the $600,000 to $800,000 range. As you're seeing, Dauphin Island has really opened up. A lot of houses do great in that range. Nice houses, pools, near the water, all that stuff. You're seeing kind of what we talked about, some houses on the water pop up down here. These are going to be, they've got their own private harbor, boat launch, that sort of stuff. And you're even seeing a lot of showing on this road downtown right here, Highway 90. This is our $800,000 plus range. We've got 72 houses currently on the market that fit this. You can see plenty to offer in Dauphin Island. We've got some showing up down here again on the water, probably their own private boat launches, that sort of stuff. This is over 5,400 square feet. You can see that. Let's look at this one. You can see it's got its own private boat launch on the water, got plenty of space, sits on half an acre, 4 bedroom, 4.5 bathroom, plenty to offer there. This is Spring Hill. You're seeing a lot of houses pop up over here. You see this one. This is actually under $3 million. You can see plenty of house to go around, 4 bedroom, 4.5, 5 bath. You have a little bit of showing out even in the country, some. A lot of acreage maybe, whatever it may be. There's different desirabilities for different things. But this should give you an idea of kind of where the hot spots are in Mobile and what range you might be looking for financially. Hopefully this video gave you more information on Mobile as a city, and you get a really good idea of what all of its areas have to offer you. If you have more questions, please feel free to reach out. If you liked this sort of map tour approach of things, please let me know by leaving me a like and a comment. This actually lets me know what is helping you. To give you more information on moving to Mobile, I'm actually going to leave a video right here, which is very detailed on West Mobile. I'll see you there, or I will see you next time.